All right, enough France. Let's talk about England, world champions in 1966, and the Dutch, European champions in
Of course.
1988.
That's
Yeah,
right.
there you go.
Here in Germany, actually.
In
Maybe
Germany,
there's a
there we
bit
go.
of a
World
destiny
history.
here.
Okay, Jules, I think it's fair to say we've both been extremely critical of both these coaches.
Yeah.
Ronald Koeman, the Dutch guy,
The Dutch guy.
and Gareth Southgate.
The English guy.
Oh no, of which we say is a better person than he is a coach. Funnily, we don't say that about Ronald Koeman. But all right, I don't think either one of these teams has played particularly well
No.
in this tournament.
That's true.
You could make the point that Holland did play better, they seemed to get a little better as the tournament went on. I don't mean so
Yeah.
much in the round of 16, the Cody Gakpo game, because I thought there was more like individuals. But here they really showed a reaction against Turkey.
Yeah, after 65 minutes, for a long time it was really slow. There was not enough urgency. The ball was not moving quickly enough. Memphis and Xavi especially were just out of it a little bit despite a good start. But then towards the end, they got a bit better. And as soon as you play wide on Gakpo is not perfect, but he runs at you, he makes things happen. When Dumfries got the ball eventually and put, I think, his first cross in the game, hey, guess what? They scored a goal. So for a long time, it was far too narrow from the Dutch. We didn't make much sense, and it took a long time for the Dutch guy to rectify it, but he did in the end, and it was enough. They won. Well done to them.
You got to show some love for Turkey as well.
Turkey,
I think.
yeah.
I thought in the end, Holland have better players, they have better individuals, and I thought that was the turning point. But I think Turkey can really lead this tournament with their heads held high. As for England, they advance. It's penalties.
Somehow.
I'm waiting for the script to change. I'm waiting for, after each game, something to happen and for this team to click.
Yeah.
And instead, it's the same crap. It's really slow build up, which I don't understand because none of these people play this way at the club level. There's always a bazillion players behind the ball, which again makes no sense, especially given who you're playing against. And then they go a goal down, and then they give up a ton of other chances, and you expect something, and then there's a moment of individual brilliance.
Yeah.
And then you go back to the snooze fest, and then this time on penalties.
Yeah.
Gareth Southgate cannot tell me that winning on penalties is part of the plan.
No, I don't think there's a plan anyway. I just don't think he has a plan, really. He tried his back three, which, I mean, the way he set it up, I don't see it. But I like the character, and I think, like we've said, you win, you go find those tournaments also with character, not with playing well automatically, but having your individual top players at some point creating something special and showing the character. And they gone behind. And to be fair, Switzerland 1-0 up with 10 minutes to go. They should not concede that Saka goal. Everybody knows exactly what's going to happen. Everybody knows he's going to come inside. Everybody knows he's there. I think Granit Xhaka knows he's coming. And then Granit Xhaka is a little bit late and just extends his leg, and the ball goes through his kind of legs and then goes in. I think even Jan Sommer knows exactly what's going to happen, and he still, for me, doesn't gamble enough in where the ball is going to go, because we all know what Saka is. It's a great goal from Saka, maybe the most important goal in his career, certainly in his international career. But if you're from a Swiss point of view, it was a bit disappointing, I think, to concede that goal.
Switzerland got a ton of praise in this tournament. Did you think they were maybe a little bit overly physical in the way they played? I mean, not that England complained about it.
No, overly.
It just feels like a lot of fouls.
Yeah, but again, I think this is part also of what, in a game like that, what can make a difference. So I have no issue with it.
All right. So how do we feel about England and the Dutch? I mean, I can't. I look at this and I see such an imbalance.
Yeah.
In terms of talent.
Yeah.
I still see a lot of cracks at the end. I don't know if you picked up on this. I was watching the game on television. When Koeman makes a substitution, sort of like minute 89 or something.
Yeah.
Van Dijk just absolutely loses his rag and starts
see.
shouting at Koeman. Starts shouting at the bench. I think I forget who it was he brought. He made a double substitution late. He brought a defender.
Yeah, Zirkzee and Veerman came on.
That's right, yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you well, what's going on? Does Koeman have control in this? Is it?
I don't know.
Or is it
it's
the players?
interesting. It's interesting. Talking about Van Dijk, just before we continue on that, we'll talk about it in the podcast, because I think Van Dijk could be the weakest link, but England have nothing to exploit that link. But yeah, maybe it's more down to the players than Koeman in that team. Just on Van Dijk, I was at the game again, and I think I've done 3 of the games now or something, and he really struggles with, the space behind him, those balls over the top. I mean, Yilmaz must be a pain to play against, the Turkey forward, because he runs forever all the time, never stops. The channels behind you, he's always that kind of threat. I don't think he's like Lionel Messi in this guy or anything like that. I don't think he can finish that great, but for that he's good. And Van Dijk really struggled, and I guess De Vrij is not that comfortable either defending that way. But the Dutch played quite high against Turkey and left all that space behind, and Van Dijk that caused him problems. And I think if England could exploit that, the problem is Harry Kane can't run anymore. Clearly in this competition, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know if he's a little bit overweight. I don't know if he's not fit and there's an injury somewhere, but he can't run anymore like that.
Yeah, well, he's not gonna be frenetic the way
No.
Yilmaz is.
He was never anyway. But
it is a good point. I wonder if maybe you could use it, do something tactically sophisticated. Maybe certain situations where you use one of your wide men in that role, and you target the defender, and you drop Kane or whatever. But then it's Southgate. He's not going to go and do that. And also,
also Saka, Foden.
Saka's the
if
one.
You had Rashford or Sterling, or Rashford especially, maybe. But Foden, Palmer, Saka, Bellingham, whoever is there,
they're not that type. Well,
no.
Saka I think could be, but again,
running behind.
Saka's
Saka.
a fullback now, right?
Yeah, you're right. Scoop on maybe, yeah.
I mean, do you think he's going to keep the back 3, or do you think with Gay back?
Surely with Gay back goes back to. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know. Because I thought he could have gone to back 3 earlier, but he took so long to do it. Just did it for that Switzerland game, clearly to match them. So maybe he can do it again. I think he has no clue anyway. So.
By the way, I ripped Deschamps. I just did before this, and the idea I'm going to rip Southgate for the same reason. You are the more talented team. You should impose yourself on the opposition and set the tone for the game. And it doesn't need to be, and I hate it when people talk about attacking football. Oh, no, it's just all about pretty football. I don't care about pretty football. I don't even care about attacking football. I care about making them play the game you want to play. If you're a team that's super comfortable defending, then that might mean defend deep. Play on the counter. It might not be pretty, but you can do that. You can do that well. You unsettle the other team. You disturb them, you play in transition, whatever. England are not good at playing in transition, which is the other part I don't understand. You want to be conservative, you want to have all these guys behind the ball, fine. But why are they so bad in transition? What's missing? I don't understand. Is it the movement, the lack of chemistry?
Yeah, maybe a bit of that. The lack of coaching, really, I think. It's not. I don't want to keep going on about Southgate, but for me it's pretty obvious that this team is not coached. A lot of those players don't really know what to do. There's no structure to build up play. There's no structure to press, or maybe they can't press, or maybe they don't want to press. I also think there might be a Bellingham issue in the sense that he wants to play as a 10, and okay, maybe.
Does he want to, or does Southgate tell him, "Oh, you just played as a 10 for Real Madrid. Why don't you keep doing that?"
I don't know. The way I see it, I think he would be more beneficial to the team if he played a bit deeper. But for him and himself, and I would be the same. I would be like, hey, I want to play as a 10. 10 is more fun than 8 in a tournament like that, 100%.
I don't know Jude Bellingham personally, but I know enough people who do and who've worked with him and who work with him. He will do what's best for the team. He knows. He understands. He's got an understanding of football. He has an understanding of football. He's played that position before.
Yeah.
If Southgate says, let's change the framework here a little bit, I don't think Jude Bellingham would say, oh, no, wait, I'm Jude Bellingham. Look at me. I won the Champions League. I just don't. Nobody I know who knows him well have given any suggestion that he's that kind of player. Yeah. So he would do that for the. So I can only assume that, no, it's Gareth thinking, oh, look, he scored that goal with the overhead kick. I want to keep him closer to the goal. He scored a lot of goals. And, he's saying Kane only scored 1 this tournament, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what goes through these people's minds. But, look, it may also mean that whatever mistakes he feels that mid-tournament isn't the time to remedy them, right?
Yeah.
But we agree England are favorites?
I mean, just the individual quality that they have, which is clearly the only thing that is carrying them in this tournament. It's nothing else. It's not the team collective strength. It's not the tactics. It's the character and the individual brilliance. So for that, against a team that has done okay and has a bit of collective strength themselves, more than England for sure, but not the same individual talent, England have to
individual
be
quality, and also I think the injuries have really hit. The fact that Xavi Simons has to play, because otherwise nobody in midfield can pass the ball effectively.
Yeah, but he can go back to a 4-2-3 instead of the 4-2-4.
But you're still forcing. But if you play the midfield three of Reinders, Schouten, and Fairman, the ball's never going to get against England. The ball's not going to get. So you have to have Xavi Simons in.
Yeah, true.
And there's no alternative to it. There's nobody else on the bench who he's forgetting. Without Koop Meiners and De Jong, they have lost so much in this midfield. Massively. And the forwards aren't good enough to carry you unless it's a moment of individual brilliance from Depay or from
Gakpo.
Or from Cody Gakpo. There you go.